The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Listen, the thing is, Elton, when he gets going, a lot of the time, an absurd amount of time if I'm being honest, he curses just like a drunken sailor, you know, a drunken dick of a sailor who has just been kicked in the dick by a hugely muscled asshole. Wait, should I say it that way? Should I say balls instead? Balls? Balls. Big ol' hairy balls. Got it. Balls. He curses like a drunken sailor who has just been kicked in the dick by an asshole's balls. Nope. That's not what I wanted to say. Damn it! No, you know what? To hell with it. I'm sticking with what I got. Yep, dick balls. That's it. Enjoy the show.
Did you ever make a bad decision? We all have, right? I mean, I'm making one right now. I'm just winging this thing when I should be actually scripting it all out like I usually do. But, you know, bad decisions are made every day. You make them, I make them. Obviously, I just said that a second ago. But what about if you made the worst, one of the worst. There's a worst one, I feel. But what if you made one of the worst one of the worst business decisions ever in the history of business? We're going to talk about that today. And this short-isode is what I call these filler. That's terrible. What I call these little shortened episodes. So we're going to talk about the worst business decision ever made in the history of business. All of it. Right now.
This is out to read some book the week. Podcast about books and to read. This is out to read some book the week. Podcast about books and to read. Yeah, let's go. Since I'm done.
Welcome to Elton Reads the Book a Week, the only podcast that I make that isn't ready to go on time like it should be, because I'm a moron. Hello, my name is Elton, and I read a book a week. And this episode, shorter episode, is about a thing that is in a book that I've read many times, too many times. It's a book called The Best of the Best of Uncle John's Bathroom Reader. My God, are these books fan-fucking-tastic. I'm going to try and find and put a link in the description. I am completely winging this whole episode, by the way. Just so you know, if it's going to sound a little different than the other ones, I got to put something out for you. You know, I got to put something out. I can't just sit on my laurels while I try to rewrite the episode I'm working on, which is about a business. So why not talk about business while I'm writing an episode about business? So the book is The Best of the Best of Uncle John's Bathroom Reader. It's a series of books that has a lot of fun facts in them and things you can read while you're taking a dump on the toilet. As we all do. Well, I hope. Or at least you go outside. You don't want to shit on your floor. That's terrible. Or better yet, on someone else's floor. More terrible. So, this is actually a little story thingy. A little section, a little thing, article bit from that book. And it's just full of interesting facts and just little stories. But this is information taken from that, and yeah. And then I'm gonna try and elaborate on it. So here's the worst business decision. Fuck, why can't I speak? Here's the worst business decision in U.S. history. There you go. That's maybe wasn't the world. Maybe I said it was ever, including all of business. But let's just narrow it down to U.S. history. Worst business decision in U.S. history. Fucking fuck. It's the 1880s, all right, in Plymouth, Michigan, okay? And there is a man named Clarence Hamilton. He's a watch repairman. And he comes up with this idea, an all right idea, as we'll find out. Not the best, but he comes up with the idea of making windmills from metal instead of wood. You know, windmills, the big things look like fans that spin when the wind hits them. You get it. There's a lot of them making electricity now these days. Anyway, back then, they would use windmills to pump water out of the ground for crop irrigation. You know, pump the water out of the ground so you can water the crops. You get it. They'd make them themselves. You know, they'd knock together some wood and make a little fan, all that. Well, Clarence thought that he could do them one better. He could make them a sturdier windmill, you know, and make it out of metal, make it out of iron, and he'd sell it at a low enough price that farmers would be like, man, that's cheaper than making it myself. And so they'd just line up to buy them because they'd last longer than the wooden pieces of shit they were knocking together and throwing up in fields or wherever you pump the fucking water from. So, in 1882, Clarence Hamilton starts the Plymouth Iron Windmill Company. And he fucking threw out his shingle and opened up for business. And as it would happen, he was completely fucking wrong. Farmers were cheap. And they were like, you know what, I can make my own fucking windmills. I don't need your fancy metal shits. So, after being 6 years in business, the windmill company wasn't doing so hot. And he was struggling. So, during his many hours of off time, Hamilton invented something that he thought would help boost the windmill sales. He invented, I mean, they already existed. He made his version of a toy rifle that used compressed air to shoot industrial ball bearings, or as anyone that's been shot with one, a BB. BB is short for ball bearing, but it's long for screaming when you've been shot in the ass, and fuck, getting shot with BBs hurts. But anyway, this rifle would shoot BBs instead of bullets. You know, as people that have shot one or been shot with one know. Of course, yes, it wasn't the first BB gun ever made. Okay, tons of people have made them before. But his was made of metal. And it was more like a regular gun, like a rifle gun. Rifle gun, Jesus, listen to me. It was more like a rifle, you know. It was sturdier and shot better than the other guns that were usually made of wood, because people like to knock shit together. Wood's just easier to work with than metal. I mean, come on, everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. But his idea was to give away one of these BB guns that he made to every farmer who bought a windmill. Okay, got that? He made the gun to give away whenever a farmer bought a windmill. Would you like a BB gun with your windmill? I don't see why not. So, Hamilton shows his air rifle, his BB air rifle gun, to his company's general manager, a guy named Lewis Cass Ho. H-O-U-G-H. Doe? Ho. I'm going to go with Ho. Lewis Cass Ho. Right? And so Lewis goes out back and he shoots he doesn't go out back yet. He shoots a trash can in his office, as one does when you get a hold of a fucking BB gun. You fucking aim at the first thing that will take a BB like a champ, and you unload on it. He unloaded on his trash can in his office. And then he was like, you know what? That was great. So he went outside and he shot an old shingle from 10 feet away. And he was like, boy, that's a daisy. And the name stuck. But, of course, the giveaway free BB guns with windmills didn't make farmers want windmills anymore than they did before, because they could still build their fucking own, but they could not build those goddamn BB guns. They fucking loved those. So instead of doubling down and saying, fuck you farmers, I'm going to keep the windmill company open, Hamilton did as a Hamilton would. I don't know what that means. He went with manufacturing BB guns and started the Daisy Manufacturing Company, making BB guns full fucking time. And then in 1891, Mr. Ho, he hired his nephew, a guy named Charles Bennett, and he made him Daisies, the Daisy air rifle guys, the Daisy air rifles first salesman, which was pretty fucking smart, because his hard work would turn. By the turn of the century, they would be cranking out 250,000 air rifles a year. That is a lot of dead squirrels and hurt siblings, and a lot of people shooting their eyes out. If you know, you know. And then by 1903, Bennett, the first salesman, was president of the goddamn company and a pillar of the Plymouth business community. So, to celebrate how badass he had done and what he had achieved, he went to Detroit. Good old Detroit. Back then, it was, car manufacturers were starting to set up shop in Detroit. And he was going to buy himself an Oldsmobile, which was fucking hot at that fucking time. Oldsmobiles were the shit. So, but before he went and took a test drive, though, he happened to stop by a suit tailor, not a guy named Taylor. He went to go buy a suit, because if you're going to sit in an Oldsmobile, you're going to have your ass in a brand new suit. So while he was there, he did mention he was going to go buy a car. And then a guy named Frank, why the fuck am I not talking right? Frank Malcolmson. He happened to overhear him, and he was, and as good old Charlie Bennett was about to leave, he said, hey, look, man, my cousin, Alex Malcolmson, he just started his own car company, with the help of a buddy, business partner of his. So, okay. To be fair, they've only built one test car, but you need to take a ride in it. At least take a ride in my cousin's, and his buddy's car before signing off on this Oldsmobile you want to buy. Go for a ride. You know what? I'll set it up. Go for a ride this afternoon. This afternoon. And so Chuck Bennett agreed. And about an hour later, Alex Malcolmson's business partner arrives. He's a relatively unknown little engineer named Henry Ford. And he pulls up in his test car, which he called the Model A. Mr. Bennett, he hops in there, and they go for a little chug. Yeah, they fucking chug. They drive around, and by the time they're done, Chuck is sold on this. And he's like, fuck Oldsmobiles, man. I want this Model A. And he told Henry Ford as much. And that he was willing to wait until it came on the market, when they were selling these motherfuckers like crazy. But, he was also like, how long is that going to be, Hank? I assume Henry liked to be called Hank, other than the anti-Semite he was. But whatever. He's like, Hanky Ford, when are these going to be coming out, man? And Hanky Ford said he wasn't sure. and that Alex Malcolmson and him, Alex Malcolmson was probably a better person to ask. So he drove Chucky Bennett over to Malcolmson's office, dropped him off, and took the fuck off as fast as a Model A could, which was, I'm guessing, about 10 to 15 miles an hour. And so he probably was giving test drives all day that day. They were trying to drum up money, okay, to make these cars. But so he talks to Alex Malcolmson. He's like, is this Model A ever going to come out at all, man? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, the car was pretty impressive, but the company, it was a mess. It was complete ass.
Elton, I'm gonna stop you right there. It's time for an ad. You know how it works. Pause, sucker. Oh, quick note, if you want the episodes ad-free, you can get those via the podcast Patreon page. Link in the show notes, or whatever they're called. All right, I'll stop now. Here are the ads.
Ford and Malcolmson, which would soon evolve into the Ford Motor Company, they were having trouble coming up with cash, because as it would happen, Henry Ford wasn't good with car companies. In less than 2 years, he'd wrecked one and gotten himself thrown out of another. And the thing is, he had a bad habit of fucking off, to mess around with race cars when he should have been designing regular cars that regular people would buy. And in the process, he burned through nearly $90,000 of his investors' money. That's somewhere around a fuck ton today. While he managed to only build roughly a dozen cars in that time. Alex here, Malcolmson, he wasn't any better. He was one of the largest coal dealers in the area, but he'd built up his business by taking loans from nearly every banker in Detroit. So he was way too deep in debt, way too overextended. And in fact, he had to hide his interest in the Ford company so that his bankers wouldn't know what he was up to. He was hiding shit. So when Ford and Alex there, when Hanky and Alex, when they made the rounds of Detroit's investors, the bigwigs, the whales, the wealthiest investor folks, to try and drum up money for yet another auto company, another car company, few people took them seriously. The two guys, they were reduced to trying to get money out of their relatives and suppliers and stuff. Malcolm tried to get money out of Alex's attorneys, his coal company employees, his landlord even, anyone else that they could think of, including Chucky Bennett. So, when Bennett went into Alex Malcolmson's office to talk about buying a car, Malcolmson offered him a chance to buy a stake in the company. A fucking huge, a big-ass stake. A big-ass, juicy, not that kind of steak. Steak spelled S-K. S-K? Yes. Fucking god damn it, Elton. Steak spelled S-T-A-K-E. God. Fucking fuck, Elton. Now, reports, they vary on exactly how much was offered. But it was at least 25%. And may have been as much as 50% of what would be the Ford Motor Company, mind you. This was offered, the 25 or the 50, whatever. It was offered for as little as $75,000 at the time. A 50% stake would make Bennett the largest individual stakeholder. I'm stuck on stake. It would have made him the largest individual shareholder with Ford and Malcolmson, and the others dividing up the other 50%. Bringing Bennett into Ford made a lot of business sense. associating, being Ford and Malcolmson associating the Ford Motor Company with such a successful guy, the guy who owned Daisy BBs, the Daisy BB Rifle Company. You get it. It would have been a big deal. People would have saw that and been like, man, you know what? You're in good company. Maybe we shouldn't be investing too. And Bennett knew a good product when he saw one. And he wanted in. He did want in. But he didn't have the 75 grand. And but the BB Rifle Company, Daisy Manufacturing Company did. So when he went back to Plymouth, he told his business partner, Ed Ho, Lewis Ho's son, by the way, he wanted to invest some of Daisy's, the Daisy Company's money in a car company. Unfortunately, the attorneys jumped in and said, hey man, no. The company's charter will not let you invest in other companies. Will not let you take the money from us and invest it in any other companies. The reasoning, was logical. I mean, what if you took the money from your company there and invested it into, say, like maybe Ford Malcolmson's company, and then it went under? Like a ton of car companies were doing, by the way, at the time. Daisy would lose its investment. Or perhaps it might even drag Daisy down with it. And plus, if it merged, if they became one company with the car company, which was another idea that Chucky Bennett was messing around with, it might even have to take on Ford and Malcolmson's losses. So if their company tanked and lost money, Daisy might be on the hook for it. So the company figured the lawyers and everyone dealing with Daisy figured, you know what? Kids are always going to want BB guns, all right? They want that under the Christmas tree, that BB gun, okay? What if cars were just a fad, huh? I mean, what if it's just a passing fancy, some whimsical thing that people are just like, for now, cars were fun, but in like 5 years, no one's gonna have a car. But Bennett, he tried everything he could to get Daisy's directors to agree to invest in the auto company and to invest in the car company, but nothing worked. And Daisy never did buy in. Instead of getting half of the company that would become Ford, Bennett, he just had to settle for the 3.3% stake he could get for about $5,000, which was all he could afford, which was all he could buy with his own money. That's all he could afford. But to be fair, I mean, given the history of Henry Ford fucking up, they couldn't have predicted the future. The only thing they could have seen is that Henry Ford sucked at being in car businesses and car companies. He had fucking tanked one and gotten tossed out of another. I mean, come on, the evidence is right there. So them investing in it probably wouldn't have it didn't make much sense at the time, obviously. Besides, Henry Ford might not have allowed them to buy that much into his company. He was determined to be his own boss. And when investors in his other earlier attempts at an auto company tried to assert themselves, he just fucking left, leaving them holding the bag. Which, I mean, doesn't bode well for future investments. You know what I mean? Investing in you. When you're just like, hey, you fuck around, I'm just going to split on you, leave you high and dry and, fucked out of money. So that, as much as anything, had caused him to fail. Him just bailing, So would he have done that with this company? They didn't know. They only knew the history. So it makes sense why they would not want to put money down on it. Plus, I mean, plus, there's a pretty good chance that, if Daisy got involved with the Ford company, Chucky Bennett, Charles Bennett might have maybe wanted to give away a BB gun or some shit with each car they sold, or even worse, he would have wanted the car to be called Daisy. I mean, what the hell, Ford said he was not about to see his latest creation named after a flower or a gun. But anyway, Bennett owned 3.3% of Ford. So, I mean, that's something, right? I mean, when the company introduced the Model T in 1908, okay, it fucking blew up. It became the largest auto manufacturer on Earth, So, of course, Bennett became fucking super stupid fucking rich, right? Wrong. Wrong. After him and Alex Malcolmson got into the Ford company, they also took sides against Henry Ford in a power struggle, which is, not a great idea with the guy who engineers the cars in the company, and invented the car and all that. So they got into a power struggle, and of course they lost. And then Bennett, he sold his Ford shares. This was, by the way, he sold them in 1907, a year before the Model T came out, and blew the fuck up. Not literally blown up. They didn't do that. But I mean, the Model T changed the world. But in 1907, he got about $35,000 for his shares. Had he held on to them, though, had he held on to them, though, his 3.3% stake in the Ford Motor Company, and held on to them to about, maybe for about 10 years, maybe like 1919, for about 12 years after he got them, when Henry Ford was tired of having to fuck with investors. So he bought out all of the other shareholders to assume full control, full ownership of the Ford Motor Company. He would have bought Bennett out, and he would have earned about $4.75 million, which was adjusted for today about $88 million in dividends. His stock would have been worth way more than that, $12.5 million back in the day, which is $200 million something ish today. Not a bad return on a $5,000 investment. Now, had Daisy bought 50% of the company in 1903? Holy shit. Oh, man. Henry Ford not... of course, had Henry Ford also not just fucking up and split, too, because, that was always a possibility. Or maybe he didn't run the company into the ground, which was also something that he may have done. Their half of the Ford Motor Company would have been worth, at the time, about $125 million. Or, Jesus, billions. Billions today. And possibly as much as 500 million at the time, or even more fucking billions today. The original investors in the Ford Motor Company, they received the largest return on risk capital in recorded business history. Yes. Let me say that again. The original investors in the Ford Motor Company received the largest return on risk capital in recorded business history. The guys that took a chance on the people that took a chance on tossing a little bit of money at Henry Ford before Ford came up and he bought they doubled, tripled their money. It was one of the best returns ever. That was according to Robert Lacey in Ford, Men and the Machine. That he wrote that book. So thanks to one fucking shitty decision, Daisy's investors got none of that fucking money. Though, I mean, you know, hindsight is 2020. So, I mean, given the history at the time and the information they had at the time, I mean, Ford was not, a solid strategy. Strategy? What the fuck am I trying to say? He was not a sound risk, I guess. He was a high risk investment. And Daisy, which is still around today, I mean, right? Or did they sell? I don't know. But you can still pick up a Daisy rifle today. I think they actually might have sold to another company and they're running it, but whatever. I'm just saying at the time it was a little iffy with Henry Ford. Just up and bailing on people and then also just getting kicked out of shit. And, you know, he was a little finicky. But god damn, can you imagine? Can you imagine getting in on the ground floor of the Ford Motor Company a year before the Model T came out and became the most bought car in the world? Holy shit. Wow. Well, I mean, if you ever get a time machine going, you know where to stop and toss a couple dollars at Henry Ford. Just hope he doesn't fucking just hope you don't catch him at the time he's fucking bailing on people. So anyway, that was a short-isode I did just a second ago, and if you Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the other episode out. It's about corporations, and I just God, it's a struggle sometimes. So if you liked what you heard, consider dropping by Patreon and becoming a contributor to the podcast and help make all of this possible. Or if you with the struggles of today, financial and otherwise, and the tariffs and every other fucking thing that's happening, if you want, please consider sharing the podcast with friends and family or neighbors, or maybe roll down the window and shout it out to someone while you're at a stoplight. Maybe the guy next to you. Tell him I said hi. How you doing over there? Hi. Listen to my podcast. Listen to this podcast. Elton reads a book a week. There you go. I did it for you. And if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me at eltonreadsabookaweek@gmail.com. And above all else, you can also buy the book via the link below. I get a little kickback from that. So you can do that too. It's a very good book. It's called The Best of Uncle John's Bathroom Reader. I'll leave a link down below. You can also join all the social medias and follow me on all that stuff too. I guess that helps. You could share it and follow me on all that, and then buy the book and join the Patreon. You could do all of that. That'd be great. Fucking love that. Love you. I love you. That got creepy, didn't it? Above all else, thank you for listening. I really sincerely do appreciate it. And I promise, the next episode's coming. I swear to God, it's coming. And if you do anything this week, maybe pick up the best of Uncle John's Bathroom Reader and read it. All right, read a book this week. Don't let them die out. Don't let them die out. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye. Bye-bye.